Hello class, today we are reading chapter 4, section 3 in a social studies book. Today your assignment is going to be to watch this video and there are going to be some questions embedded in the video along the way. Those questions are what you will get your score based on today. So follow along and you may read out loud as I read, and there will be a couple of spots where I give you a little bit extra information that will help you to answer some of these questions. So let's go ahead and get started. Section 3 says it's about cities. Some questions to guide our inquiry. So we'll be looking for: how did the geographical, financial, and religious status of the colonists affect where and how they lived? What motivated each colony to form? And how did climate affect the development of 3 regions in the United States? So those are still those same questions that we've been looking to answer within the first few sections. And we will see some vocabulary terms here. We've got commerce, self-sufficient, plantation, and indigo. You will want to be paying attention to those. They will be bolded in our reading today, and you will need to figure out what those mean. Let's go ahead and start up here. Have you ever wondered why a lot of big businesses are based in the city? Or perhaps you have wondered why there are so many small towns instead of a few big cities. Stranger still, have you ever wondered why the bulk of the land available is used for farming, while people live cramped in the city? This system of living is not new. Even back in colonial times, people lived in one of 3 areas: cities, towns, or farms. So let's go ahead and talk about that first one, cities. During colonial times, only about 5% of the people living in the colonies lived in cities. The 5 main cities at the time were Boston, Massachusetts, New York, New York, Newport, Rhode Island, sorry, can't talk today, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and Charleston, South Carolina. These cities were all located at a major ocean port. Why would the largest cities at the time be near a port? Look at the chart on the left. Take a few minutes and figure out about how many people each city held at the time. Let's go ahead and take a look. So population we have here on the side. It looks like it's being recorded in the thousands. And then we have largest here would be Philadelphia. So it's coming in, let's see, 20,000. That looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we'll hit 5. So it's going by 5,000. So I'd say 24,000 for Philadelphia. New York, looks like they're coming in at 18,000. Boston, Massachusetts is between 15,000 and 16,000. So we might say 15,500. And Charleston, South Carolina, and Newport, Rhode Island kind of look about the same. Let's see, so 5, 6, 7, about 7,500, somewhere in there for each of those. Then look up the current population of each of the cities. Are they still ranked the same in population, with Philadelphia being the largest and Newport the smallest, or have things changed? So I did go ahead and look those up for you, and here's what we have for current population of colonial cities. Take a minute to look at that. Pay attention to which one has the most population and which one has the least population. Okay, now if I go back, take a look at this again. Which one has the most population? Which one has the least population? And then let's ask that question again. So, are they still ranked the same in population, with Philadelphia being the largest and Newport the smallest, or have things changed? Okay, hopefully you've noticed that things have changed. For Philadelphia, it used to be the most populated. We can see now that actually New York has gained in population over Philadelphia by quite a bit. It looks like it's about triple to Philadelphia. So my next question is, why do you think that is? Why did those two switch places? Why is New York now more populated than Philadelphia, Pennsylvania? And as you're thinking about that, I would recommend that you think about location or their geography. Okay, as mentioned, most of the cities in colonial America formed along ports. This allowed the cities to become centers for commerce and defense. Cities quickly became places where people could find work, trade their goods, get an education, or learn a trade. Below is a picture of Alfred's Alley in Pennsylvania. It is considered one of the oldest continuously inhabited places in America. Most of the homes were built in the 1700s by Jeremiah Alfred, a local blacksmith. The street still looks like it did in the 1700s and can be visited today. And so here's a picture of that right here. Lots of buildings right in a row. Okay, so vocabulary alerts, vocabulary alerts. Go ahead and answer this. So according to the text, what would be the best definition for commerce? Let's continue reading. Colonial towns. Towns were incredibly important in the colonies. They were primarily self-sufficient. In other words, they were capable of taking care of themselves. Towns were very common in New England and the middle colonies. Most families had their own small plot of land where they grew the food they needed and could raise animals for meat. They had a church, school, blacksmith, and any other necessary businesses to keep their town surviving. So again, vocabulary alert, vocabulary alert. So we have another bolded word here, self-sufficient. According to the text, what does the word self-sufficient mean? Let's continue reading. The town also had a town common, or green, which was basically a large open space in the center of town where people could meet and cattle and sheep could graze. One of the most important places in town was the meeting house. Here, people would meet to discuss town business. They would also use the building as a site for their church. As you learned in previous chapters, religion was very important to the colonists, so the place they met for church was very important to them. Down to the next page, student activity. Take a tour of the historic town of Williamsburg. It is a town in Virginia that has been around since colonial times. Use the widget to see what the town would have looked like at the time. The map does include some modern structures and technology, so think logically while you are taking your tour. Okay, I am sorry, but a little bit of a buzzkill here. I did try this widget. There is no possible way of doing the tour online. It is selling tickets to do an actual tour at Williamsburg, but it does not allow us to take a virtual tour, so I apologize for that. Let's take a look at southern plantations and farming. Even though there were many small towns and small farms in the southern colonies, some of the wealthiest farmers lived on plantations. This is a special type of very large farm where single cash crops like tobacco and indigo and later cotton were grown. Most of the work on the plantation was done by slaves. A plantation was really like its own small town and was almost totally self-sufficient. Each plantation had a planter's house where the owner's family lived. It also had barns, storage, stables, and specialized workspaces a town would need, such as a blacksmith shop or carpentry shop. On top of that, the plantation would have enough shacks to house all of its workers. Oop, vocabulary alert, vocabulary alert. I see another bolded word here. So again, from the text, please choose the best definition for the word plantation. Each plantation was normally run by the owner. He was usually referred to as the master or planter. These men were usually wealthy and owned large amounts of land. Even though plantations were usually run by men, there were a few cases where women would take over the plantation. One very successful woman was Eliza Lucas Pinckney. She took over the family plantation when she was just a teenager, only a few years older than you. She was also the first person in the colonies to successfully grow indigo. Ooh, another vocabulary alert, vocabulary alert. We have another bolded word here. We've seen this word indigo before. From the text and remembering from our past sections, what do you think the word indigo means? Another important person on the plantation, after the master, was the plantation manager, or overseer. The overseer would give the slaves their work orders. It was his job to make sure the work got done, and he had the power to treat the slaves as he saw fit. Most overseers made the slaves work from dawn to dark, doing the work of the plantation, and beat them if they did not work hard enough. This work ranged from field work, working with farm animals, or making or repairing farm tools, to cooking and cleaning or laundry. That is the end of our section today. Answering those questions today will count as your homework grade today. And so if you've gotten through this video, you are all finished. I just need you to go back into the assignment and either click Mark as Done if that's an available option, or you might click Turn In if that one is an available option. Thank you.